This is day 2 of our parallel and perpendicular line study. This lesson is about writing an equation of a line that will have a parallel or perpendicular slope. So we already talked about how lines that are parallel have the same slope and lines that are perpendicular have the opposite reciprocal slope. So we learned that the last time, and we learned how to identify them from equations. So today what we're going to be able to do is write the equation from what we are given. I'm going to show you the steps, which will go on the front of your foldable. Pause this video and copy them down, and I will talk through them as I show them to you. So the first thing you're going to do is solve the given equation for y if needed. So sometimes it's already in slope-intercept form. Sometimes you have to get it into slope-intercept form. And then you're going to determine what the slope is for that line. If you're looking to write an equation of a parallel line, we know it's going to have the same slope. And if we're looking to write an equation for a perpendicular line, then we know it'll be the opposite reciprocal. Then we're going to write the equation for the new line in point-slope form. And then if it tells you to write the equation in slope-intercept form, you are then going to turn the equation into slope-intercept form and then graph it if it asks you to. So pause the video if you need to write all of these down, and we're going to go ahead and go into the inside of this foldable to do some practice. So we're going to start with the top one in the left-hand corner. It says, write the equation of the line that passes through the point 3, -1 and is parallel to y equals 2x plus 3. So step 1 tells us to get it into slope-intercept form. It already is. And notice that they want us to write an equation that's parallel to this equation. So identify the slope of the equation that's given, and because we want it to be parallel, that means it's got to be the same. So we know our slope is going to be 2. Step 2 is to write it in point-slope form. So I'm going to start with my formula. Y minus y1 is m times x minus x1. I have to use the point that was given to me up here, and we know this is x and y. So when I rewrite the equation, I'm going to have y minus 1 equals 2 times x minus -3. And I know that a negative makes a positive, so these are going to turn positive. And then this problem just says write an equation. It doesn't say what kind of an equation, so if this was a homework test quiz, you would be done at that point. But what I'm going to have you go ahead and do on step 3 is to turn it into slope-intercept form. So we're just going to write turn equation into slope-intercept form. So I'm going to take the equation I already wrote, y minus 1 equals 2 times x plus 3, and I need to get y by itself. So I'm going to go ahead and distribute the 2. So I have y minus 1 equals 2x plus 6, and then I'm going to add 1 to both sides to get y by itself. So I'm left with y equals 2x plus 7. Now, just for some good practice, we're going to go ahead and graph these two equations so you can see that they're parallel. I am not going to spend the time on this video to do that, but the one thing that I do want you to do is make sure that you make that x and y axis before you graph. when you graph your two equations, the lines should be parallel. All right, let's go ahead and look down at the next problem. The next problem is a little bit more complex. It says, write the equation of the line that passes through the point 5, 4 and is parallel to y minus x equals 6. So I need to identify what it's asking me to do. So it's asking me to make it parallel. And it's asking me to make it parallel to this. The problem is this equation is not in slope-intercept form. So I'm going to take it down here real quick and get it into slope-intercept form. So I have y minus x equals 6. I need to get y by itself, so I'm going to add x to both sides. And so I'm left with y equals x plus 6. I can now identify the slope. The slope of this equation is 1 because there's a 1 right here. And because we're making it an equation that's parallel, the slope's going to be the same thing. So my slope is going to be 1. Step 2 is to write the equation in point slope form. So I have y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. Here is my ordered pair up here, x and y. So my equation is going to be y minus 4 equals 1 times x minus 5. Step 3 then is to take this equation and turn it into slope-intercept form. So I know if I distribute this 1, it's not going to change the value. So all I'm left with is x minus 5. And then again, get y by itself. So let's add 4 to both sides. And you have y equals x minus 1. So the two equations that you're going to be graphing are here and actually here. And they will be parallel when you create your xy coordinate on this graph. Let's look at that third example now. We're going to switch to perpendicular. It says, write the equation of the line that passes through points negative 4, 1 and is perpendicular to the equation y equals 2x plus 3. If I'm making it perpendicular, I can tell you that right here is my slope, 2 over 1. So my slope for my line that's perpendicular needs to be the opposite. So this is positive right now, so it needs to be negative. And I also need to make the reciprocal, so I need to flip it over. So it becomes 1/2. So in my new equation, this is the slope that I need to use. I'm still going to use the point that's given, so x and y. So I have y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. And now I'm going to substitute my values. So I have y minus 1 equals negative 1/2 x, and it would be minus negative 4. So I'm going to just go ahead and make that a plus 4. And then my last and final step is to take this equation and turn it into slope-intercept form. So y minus 1 equals negative 1/2 x plus 4. And I will distribute. So I have y minus 1 equals negative 1/2 x. And negative 1/2 times 4 is negative 2. And to get y by itself, I'm going to add 1. So I have y equals negative 1/2 x minus 1. So I would graph this equation and this equation on this coordinate plane. And the last and final example we have is a little bit more complex again. It says write the equation of the line that passes through points 8, 1 and is perpendicular, so there's what we're doing, perpendicular, to 2y plus 4x equals 12. So I'm going to have to take this equation down here and get y by itself real quick. So I have 2y plus 4x equals 12. To get y by itself, I'm first going to move that 4x. I'm left with 2y equals negative 4x plus 12. And then let's divide everything by 2. So I have y equals negative 2x plus 6. So this equation and this equation are the same. I can now identify my slope. My slope was negative 2. That's for the original equation. For my new equation, because I want it to be perpendicular, this one's negative, so I need to make my new one positive, and I also need to flip this, so it becomes 1/2. Step 2, write your equation. So y minus y1, m times x minus x1. So I have y minus, and here's my x and y, so y minus 1 equals 1/2 times x minus 8. And I'm going to go ahead and get that into slope-intercept form. Distribute that half. So y minus 1 is 1/2 x minus 4, because half of 8 is 4. And then I'm going to add 1 to both sides. So I have y equals 1/2 x minus 3. Sorry, that got small at the end. And then I would be graphing this equation and this equation on this coordinate plane. Just a quick, I can show you what these two should look like when you finish, or all of these. So that's the first graph and what it should look like. This is the second graph and what it should look like. This is the third graph and what it should look like. And then finally, the fourth graph. Let me see if I can get it to... And there's the fourth graph and what it should look like. If you have any questions, come see me during Flex tomorrow or send me an email. I will be back later today, so I will be able to get to my email. I just had an appointment this morning. And you have homework that goes with this. It is going to be page 203, and it's just some random problems. So I will leave that for you, and please have that done for our next class.